Before Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout would become the breakout surprise hit video game of 2020, that is before Among Us arrived on the scene. Before Tim the Tatman would hit trending on Twitter when his 8-day saga failing to get a W in the game finally came to an end.
Tim, you got this?
Nice and easy.
Let's go! You said it couldn't be done! There's the king!
Before Fall Guys would provide endless inspiration for YouTubers looking to recreate the series in the real world, this includes Nadeshot and the Sidemen.
Do you know what? This may look like fun and spongy on camera, right? We're all
Now there's no way on earth you haven't heard of the massive rise in popularity of Fall Guys, which took over Steam, Twitch, and the internet memes for August and into September of pandemic 2020. Now for those of you just tuning in, well, 60 players, they have to survive colorful obstacle courses, with one only being the true victor. Sounds easy, right? Well, for gamer superstar Tim the Tatman, it took 8 days before he took home his first W, and when that happened, well, the entire world watched in celebration.
Guys, I can't even see what's going on in my chat, bro. Oh my god. Oh. God,
Tim has made history.
So that brings us up to date with its meteoric rise to the top of the gaming charts, but here on this channel we like to take a look at the history. And the idea for this game, it's actually loosely based on 1980s Japanese shows, which include It's a Knockout, or the more widely known Tekashi Castle.
Here's Kenny earlier this afternoon. I tested the wall first.
Now for our younger viewers who weren't fortunate enough to watch this on TV, well, I guess you probably know the more recent recreation, which was known as Wipeout.
Hold your horses, Trojan Boss Tom.
Alright, back to Fall Guys. Well, the game's launch date, it was a disaster with the fans. They crashed the server. And the company, well, they were actually nervous as the number of their past releases, well, they hadn't done so great. But it was early adapters like Soddapoppin, XQC, Lyric, Mizkif, Forsen, and others who had been given early access to the beta, and they had already proven to the masses that this was a game that was way too fun to miss out on. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Michael McCrudden back at it again with a brand new video on the rise in popularity of another video game. Fall Guys, here for you before they're famous. Now, I'm a little late to the party on this one, but last week we dropped a video on Among Us, and you guys seem to enjoy that. You also requested this follow-up. Please keep your requests coming in, and I'll see you guys after the intro. Hey, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell. Boom!
Some of us went to what's called the Monster at Alexandra Palace, and yeah, we spent a couple of hours just hurling ourselves around this insane bouncy obstacle course.
Fall Guys was created by London-based indie developer MediaTonic, and it was initially released on August 4, 2020, which makes the game a Leo. Now, the idea for the game, it came from a random comment in a pitch meeting by lead designer Joe Walsh.
I'd spent a lot of time watching Tekashi's Castle when I was younger. You never quite know what combination of like weird, insane rounds you're gonna get.
Referencing the hilarity and love for old Japanese crash course television shows like Tekashi Castle, which thanks to some recreations and later some hilarious dubbing, well, the series became a cult classic all over the world, like for decades after its initial release. Literally, I grew up and this is like what we watched every day in high school at lunch. Now, interestingly enough, a video game, it was actually produced for the original Nintendo in 1987, but it left plenty to the imagination of what could actually be done with this concept and if they had the proper technology. Take a look. So obviously there was lots of work to be done, and it was the fine folks at MediaTonic who were willing to take on the challenge. Now, working with a relatively small team of 30 to 40 or so people, well, the London-based game developers, they got to work. Now, cruising over Twitter, I found some concept art and explanations from creative director, I'm talking Jeff Tanton. The redesign of the Fall Guy at the start of the project, pre-production art, is still most proud of giving them butts. The moment of understanding that face holes should be in the chest of big costumes is a tiny, wonderful revelation. Now, for the character design of your beloved Fall Guys, well, those at MediaTonics, they went straight to the original Japanese show of It's a Knockoff, where participants, they were dressed up in ridiculous outfits that made it impossible for them to move. Now, the prototype characters in Fall Guys during development, they still maintained their classic bean look, but some of the designs early on were slightly more terrifying. Now, through tests and trials, they eventually landed on the perfect design.
The idea of them being full of energy and bouncing into things. We made everything soft, and so there's lots of inspiration came from the soft play areas that my kids use.
As for the colorful world that the characters live in, well, Jeff Tanton, he shared this on Twitter. If you're wondering why the game looks good enough to eat, it's because Art Lead picked a color palette and treatment that was directly influenced by candy and sweet treats. The first time fully arted stages landed was joyous. Alright, that's a lot of gamer talk, gamer developer talk for me, but does sound like a pretty fun time. Now, there was lots of trial and error figuring out what worked and what didn't, including dropping the more commonly used player number from 100 to 60, as they found it was more fun with that many players competing. Now, being an indie studio, there were some fears at MediaTonic that the game would fail. Now, lead designer Joe Walsh, he had this to say. "It's hard to imagine now, but we had no idea whether Fall Guys was going to be a success. As a studio, we've taken some tough knocks in the past and picked ourselves up again. There's resilience in learning through that, humbleness that I think runs through the studio culture." He continued, "It also means we had a whole bunch of muscle memory around near misses and might have beans, but not for completely unprecedented levels of success and attention." He continued, "When I say it was a shock, I mean I spent the first week kind of numbly updating social media and shaking. Now, its massive success, it didn't come without hiccups. Now, the beta version, it had been released to a number of high-profile streamers who enjoyed the game so much that they blew up the hype to the point that when the game was finally launched, well, it crashed the studio servers for 30 minutes, but still. That's not a great way to spend launch day." Now, the game had drawn in over 1.5 million players in the first 24 hours, and before the end of the month, well, it had sold over 7 million copies on Steam alone. Now, the success of Fall Guys, it's an impossible story to tell without referencing Tim the Tatman and his inability to land a W day after day. Now, as he continued to fail his loyal audience and then a wider audience, their interest in his gameplay began to grow exponentially. Then when he finally landed the crown and the top spot on his 8th day, well, his reaction went #1 on Twitter, and it was celebrated, well, by the entire gaming community.
Guys, I can't even see what's going on in my chat, bro. Oh my god. Oh god,
Tim has made history.
Now, Fall Guys' success also managed to penetrate the meme world with the Fall Guys Yellow Team, which refers to a series of memes which imagine the randomly assigned yellow team in the game as the worst of the 4 team options, with players who end up on this team being bound to lose. Now, the jokes partly reflect the tendency of players on the red and blue teams to gang up on yellow team in 3-team games.
Just say yellow team gets the short end of the stick. There's a lot of memes against yellow, mostly propelled by the Twitter account run by a 30-year-old man pretending to be 24.
Now, the internet, it's a wild place, and I'm just happy to be a part of it. It's better to be watching the memes than to become one, but still, all in all, it's been pretty fun. As for the rest of the story, well, I think we're gonna wrap this one up here because this is before they're famous. But before we go to the end screen, which is another video of me, well, let us know if there's any other video games or if you guys want us to do a versus here in the comments down below. All right, see you guys in another video. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. Now, we drop a new video each and every day, so here's a recent drop that you might enjoy. We handpicked that one for you because if you like this video, you'll probably like that. We also got playlists like over here, so click on that if you want to see a whole list of a bunch of videos we've dropped in the past. And if you're new to the Fame Gang, be sure to subscribe and turn on them post notifications, and I'll see you guys in another video. Boom!